I want to share something with you that is very special and very important. Something that's taken me decades to fully discover. You see, I discovered, a kind of miracle. A miracle that happens when everyday people personally impact hurting children in some of the world's poorest countries. I'll tell you more about that miracle in a minute. My name is Joseph Anfuso. I've been married to Karen, the love of my life, for more than 44 years. Together, we raised 3 amazing children and now have 8 grandchildren, all girls. Yeah, all girls. When I look at those 8 beautiful faces, I can't help myself. I'm compelled. I tell them they're precious. I tell each one how unique they are.
Hi, Pop.
I tell them that they're full of potential.
Hi, Pop.
And I want them to believe it with all their hearts.
Hi, Pop. I love you, Papa.
You see, when I was a boy, I had a hard time believing those same beautiful things about myself. I was raised in New York City. My father was a U.S. congressman and state Supreme Court justice. My older brother became a Madison Avenue lawyer, and my fraternal twin brother towered over me, both in size and self-confidence. Starting at the age of 5, my father shipped us off to summer camp from late June to late August, then to boarding schools at the age of 11. I felt discarded and tossed aside. I eventually gave in to those tossed aside feelings. At 21, I filled a backpack and disappeared into the world. Europe, Nepal, India. I wandered. I searched. Dismissing the Catholic beliefs of my childhood, I studied Tibetan Buddhism and lived on communes, all in a quest to fill the hole left by my upbringing, an upbringing of privilege, but at that point, with long hair and threadbare clothes, I'd seemingly left that behind too. I did over time find some healing. Like so many of the great stories, my healing was found in the very same place the wounding had begun, in the arms of my family, back home in New York. Though my father had passed, my mother and siblings had found transformation in the love of Jesus, and they embraced me with their newfound love. I wanted to resist their claims about Jesus, but love inevitably begets love. I became compelled to study the Bible for myself. And on March 17th, 1974, my life was transformed by Jesus as well. I wish I could say that my feelings of being tossed aside disappeared overnight, but they didn't. In fact, in some ways, God rooted the memory of those feelings even deeper in my soul. It was as if God wanted me to always remember what it felt like to feel discarded and without purpose. Now, I want to tell you a couple of stories about Forward Edge, the organization that Karen and I started almost 40 years ago. The first was a magical moment I experienced in Central America in 1982. At this point, I was all in on Jesus and stretching the wings of my faith. Sitting on the rooftop of a Christian school in Guatemala, I looked down and saw a group of young Christian missionaries camping in a nearby courtyard. As I gazed at them, it was as if God laid the pages of my story over the scene below me. My wandering around the world, my quest for purpose and significance, and now my desire to share the love of Jesus with the world. So, in 1983, fueled by my folly as well as my faith, I led our first short-term team to Italy to share about Jesus with recovering drug addicts and minister in the streets. Being a part of that transformed me. That was when a mentor confronted me. He challenged me. "Joseph," he said, "you have a choice to make. You could spend your life trying to help people one at a time, or you could inspire a multitude of loving people to join you in transforming the world." Over the next 25 years, more than 20,000 short-term volunteers would serve with Forward Edge in many parts of the U.S. and 34 foreign countries, building children's homes, providing medical and dental care, rebuilding the lives of those ravaged by natural disasters, and all the while, always, always leading with Jesus' message of love and purpose. At this point, I was feeling pretty good about what we had done. But God, He had other plans. Forward Edge's field coordinator in Nicaragua, Gloria Sequeira, had been reaching out to young girls trying to survive in a Managua garbage dump, where many were being sold into prostitution, often by their own mothers, to the truck drivers bringing in the garbage. Desperate for help, Gloria invited me to see the situation firsthand. Within days, I was driving through the dump with Gloria when we came across a beautiful young girl standing by a pile of trash. She appeared to be in her mid or late teens. She's been sleeping with the truck drivers for years and is now living with a man in his 50s. Calling out to the girl, whose name was Ileana, Gloria asked if she wanted to leave the dump and live someplace safe. But Ileana said no. At the time, we had no idea how tragic this decision would become. Gloria told me that to truly help the most vulnerable children, we needed to build permanent, holistic systems of care to restore their entire selves, spiritual, physical, emotional, and psychological. Only then could they heal and find their true purpose in Jesus. A fire was sparked in my soul. Alongside Gloria and generous partners from the U.S., we built Via Esperanza to care for those tossed-aside girls and their families. Tragically, Ileana would not be among the first girls to enter the Via program, and she soon passed away from an AIDS-related illness. She was just 19 years old. We were unable to help Ileana, but the Via became the model of mission for Forward Edge. And over the years, we've discovered countless more tossed-aside children like Ileana all over the world and told them, you are precious, you are unique, you are full of potential. Children like George, who was left for dead in a Kenyan forest by his own mother, but is now studying to be a tourism manager. Lucas, a former gang member in Mexico, who's built homes for impoverished families living in a Oaxacan slum. And Armenia, who was born in the Managua dump and whose parents died of AIDS, but she's now a university student studying business marketing. Our wonderful short-term mission trips continue, but now they support ongoing child-focused community development programs in places like Haiti, Uganda, Cuba, Kenya, and Mexico. Programs that provide at-risk children with nutritious meals, safe drinking water, health care, education, and a loving community. Studies confirm that the absence of such holistic care has a devastating impact on the lives of children in developing countries, while providing such care has a profoundly positive impact. In addition to providing holistic care, Forward Edge programs are also effective because they're directed by local Jesus followers who are living role models of who these children can become.
I grew up in this village. I was probably poorer than they are, and I went through that harsh life, and helping them makes me feel much better to see that I'm doing what it takes to make their lives much better than what I had when I was little.
The church has a mission, and all the Christians has a mission to see the children going and become all that God want them to become.
And the impact is impossible to ignore.
Cuando tenía 12 años. Después de 10 años en el programa, terminé la universidad y ahora tengo un título en Administración de Empresas Turísticas. Sé que Dios me está usando para hacer algo nuevo en mi familia y para servir en la iglesia, para bendecir a otros así como yo fui bendecida.
Mi sueño es poder finalizar mi carrera de enfermería y poder explorar todos los conocimientos que voy adquiriendo en la carrera y poder ser servicio hacia las demás personas.
So here's the miracle I've discovered over my long and blessed life. First, there's a special place in God's heart for vulnerable children. And second, when everyday people engage, support, and defend His children, time and again, God shows up anew in their lives too, just as He's performed the same miracle in my life, time and time again. And we've only just begun. I believe in the years to come, dozens more Forward Edge programs will start in places we haven't even discovered yet, holistically touching the lives of countless vulnerable children. I believe thousands of individuals and churches will cross the planet with us, sponsor children with us, and share the miracle of rescuing children with us. Here's something else I know. It's a miracle that God would use someone like me, someone who felt tossed aside, someone who doubted himself and God as much as I have. Do you want God to use you to change lives? Do you want to live on life's forward edge and experience God's love for you and through you? Then come, join us. And now, just like when I look into my granddaughters' faces, I want to say to you, you are precious, you are unique, and you are full of potential. Come, let's join with God to change the lives of children in some of the world's poorest countries. I can assure you, along the way, He'll change your life too.